exactly how we like to run things. Nobody expects us on time, nor the spec. We've already been talking about Monty Python, but we're deep into that already. Well, yeah, okay.
You've
So
just gone live, and it just occurred to me this is a horrible moment to notice I have my t-shirt on inside out. But thankfully, it's a white one, so you can't really see the seam. Would you have noticed the seam
here's
is there?
here's the thing, and don't even get me started on women's fashion, but this bothers me because
Okay.
I get my wife says, "Oh, can you go get my shirt for me?" And I go get it for her, and it's like, "Oh, that's inside out." And then I turn it inside out, and then I realize, "No, wait. Now it's inside out. How is it inside out both ways?" And she said, "Well, cuz that's the style." So just no, if that ever happens to you, just say it's the style.
It's a good move.
Trend these days.
You don't wear your shirts inside out.
I'm going to from now on. Now I know it's
Fake
fashionable.
ignorance. It'll be fine.
Sorry, that was a slight segue. Carry on, mate. Sorry.
All set to go. It is 8:39. Oh my god, I'm screwing up already. All right, start over for real. I am Ross, joining me as my co-host, and we are joined by special guest Cam MacKinnon of Breton Brewing, and together, we're only 1/3 of us are actually in Cape Breton. We're attempting to drink Nova Scotia dry. At least, correct me if I'm wrong, Cam. You're in Cape Breton right now.
I'm in Halifax.
Dang it!
I know.
Already wrong. 0 for 3. It's fine.
I feel like you're there though, with the beautiful Breton background. So
I'm just faking it, but that's perfectly all right. But yeah, so we like to do this. We like to talk to as many of the breweries as we can, and honestly, we've been doing it for a few years now, and it's almost time to sort of get around to visiting everyone a second time. I think we've done that once or twice, but finally getting the chance to talk to and hopefully not completely inundate you with unanswerable questions that have been pent up in our brains for many years about what the goings on of Breton Brewing.
oh no, fire away. I'm happy to be here. This is great. Love talking beer.
We've got 3 that you recommended, so we can always just get straight into them, and then we have something to sip at while we're chatting.
Yeah.
Normally, and this is definitely something that we could have talked about beforehand, but normally we go from lowest ABV up to highest ABV. But if there was something that you wanted to talk about in a specific order, or if it mattered,
No, that sounds great to me.
low to high it is. Lowest ABV at the moment is the Breton Light lager, coming at light beer at 4.0%, the 355 milliliter can. And I confirmed on the website that this is the exact same description that's on the website as on the can, is an easy drinking light lager that gleams with pride, as crisp as the ocean water and as refreshing as the Highland breeze, proudly crafted on Cape Breton Island. I think they all say proudly crafted on Cape Breton Island, but it's nice to have that
I
in there
believe
too,
they do. Yes.
as part of their description. Now, I will tell you the story of my acquisition of the Breton Light Lager. Because I went in, I checked the inventory. I said, hey, NSLC. Well, first of all, you have to bypass their new ridiculous age restriction rules and whatnot. And I said, all right, do you have all 3 of these ones that Cam was suggesting? And the NSLC said, yes, those are all nearby at your nearby NSLC. I said, great. Walked in, got the other 2. There they are in the tall cans. And I went, oh, Breton Light. Nope. Huh. Oh, well, if it's a lager, it's probably in the case. So I'll go in the cool room and it'll be in with the cases. Easy peasy, no problem. Go over to the cases. Well, okay, there's the Crazy Angus. You get a case of Crazy Angus. You know, don't tempt me with a good time, but not today. And then, okay, it's over by the other ones. Breton Light. Nope. Not there either. Huh, well, that's weird. All right, well, cans? No. Well, sometimes they put it over. That wouldn't be in clearance. No, it's not. Okay, go check clearance. No, it's not there. So, oh, right, they have specials, and they put them at the end of the aisles. They put them, at the little toe ends, or whatever they call those. End caps, I think it's called. Nope, not at any of those. Okay, fine. Oh, okay, back into the beer fridge. We're going into the cold room again. Okay, it's not over here. I'm not crazy. What is going on here? It's not... And then I went, oh, well, there's more cases over there, but that's just where they put, like, the Budweisers and that. And then the Coors Light. Oh, is it banished to the realm of the light beers? Is that what happened? I walk over, there's the 12-pack. Oh, you've been banished to the land of the light beers.
Yeah, it's I don't know if banished is the right word, but
It's way at the back. It's hard.
Yeah, they have a lot of the local lagers they put back there, and that was kind of something that we had talked about, of whether we wanted to be back there or not. But there are a number of companies that have their local beers back there in 12 packs. I think there's a customer that knows to go back and look there. So we kind of decided we'd try it out for a little while and kind of see how it goes. And we're a few kind of periods in.
Well, Toller goes back there, and
Yeah.
I will buy a case of Toller Gold, so I know where to go from a Toller Gold. But if I'm looking to pick up a pack, you can get the Hunky Dory or your 4-pack of Galaxy. You got to go into the cold room because the single cans are out front, and if you want your big, huge, tall ones. But I don't know what it was, but I was just kind of, it took me, it was my 5th try finding it, just in this one wandering around the NSLC to grab the case of them. It's
Well, I don't like hearing that, but I guess I kind of understand why they put it back there. I think that you're kind of trying to, you got to tell your customer it's back there for sure. And you got to educate them that it's back there. But I do think, if you're trying to pull from someone that maybe is grabbing something from a bigger company or a bigger boy, they're not going over to look kind of at that other side where some of the more local crafty stuff is. So I think that's a little part of it. And I think it's part of it, the NSLC trying to figure out the best spot for that stuff too.
I'm fairly certain that it's more of a mark on my own inadequacies and inability to find things in a store than it is on anything else. Because I like to say, you darn NSLC, why do you have, there's a big sign over here that says beer, and then there's a big part over here that doesn't have a sign that says beer, so how am I supposed to figure that? Well, you're in the beer closet, you moron, so you probably should kind of figure this out, and it's around here somewhere. Sniff it out, you'll get there. So, the other thing, and this is probably going to come up between the two of them, is the I'm going to go the popularity not just of drinking a lighter ABV beer, but also producing a lighter ABV beer. And we've seen just an influx of the session IPAs, and a few light lagers and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like maybe a number of years ago, it was something that I don't want to say people didn't want to do, but I think it was kind of viewed at as more of a big beer thing, so to speak, more of a Labatt and a Molson thing. But, a lot of people really enjoy light beers. It's a nice afternoon beer. It's a lawn mowing beer. It's a golf course beer. It's you want to have one, but you want something light. I think that, local producers realized that they could make something really, really good, that was better than a lot of the light beer out there, and say, hey, there's a customer for this in our area. There's a customer for this in our neighborhood. Why can't we produce something for them too? So I feel like it was kind of I don't want to say the early years of craft, but kind of when things were really kind of popping off, not a lot of people were doing the light thing. And then I think, over time, people realized that, there's a customer for this as well.
I see a ton of people walking out of NSLCs with boxes, 12 packs of light beers all the time. Unfortunately, not particularly great ones. Obviously, the generic mass-produced ones still the majority of what we're talking about.
Still have
but clearly,
the market.
they do. There is still people walking out with Miller Light, whatever it's called. Miller, help me out. Miller Genuine Draft Light, MGD Light, and Coors Lights, and of course Budweiser's all the time. They're coming out. It's Friday and Saturday evenings. I'm walking out of there. It's 5 o'clock in the evening, and people are wanting to have a few beers. And those things still sell by the crate load. But it is nice to see when people do walk out, and we get our snob's head on, and I walk out, and I kind of like I'm approving them as they're walking out. If they're walking out with a 12-pack of a local craft light, and I'm like, well done, son, well done. This one's got such a. And I was not ready for the smell, Cameron. What am I smelling?
The smell.
I was not ready. It's a slightly coming out of the can. It's slightly metallic when it came out. Can-wise, but
I'm not getting that. However, maybe a little, potentially a little bit.
Really the smell of the can.
It's probably what I mean.
That's just it. I'm getting the smell of whatever soap I put on the dishes for the dishwasher. So I think it's just got so little of a smell factor. Because for a light log, I mean, oh my God!
There's a fruitiness to it.
And that was a fruitiness. That was truly the goal, was to just make a very approachable, regular light lager.
Okay.
I think that there's a lot of, I think we realized a few years ago that there's a lot of light beer drinkers in Cape Breton, not a lot of light beer drinkers everywhere. But we knew we had a customer that was looking for that. We used to make a really good beer called Island Time, which was a Munich Helles lager, which was really good. But it was a little thicker and a little maltier, and we wanted something that was, truly light. So Breton Light was kind of the move we decided to make, and we launched it a couple of years ago, and it's been going great. Cape Bretoners have embraced it, and the rest of the province is starting to follow suit.
Is it? Am I getting a tiny little bit of orange?
Probably yes. Yeah, probably a little tiny bit. I get that occasionally. It's and Ian, our head brewer, and our production manager, he's just dynamite. And we have another girl, Shelby McNeil, and she's our lab technician. So we have a lab right in the brewery, and they're constantly tweaking and not adjusting, but making sure that they have the recipes as dialed in as they possibly can. It's tough to make a really good light beer. You can't hide anything in it. So you got to really be on point with it. And I think they do a great job.
The lager, I mean, obviously it is a lager. Is it a lighter version of an existing lager that you have, or a completely different brew altogether?
No, it's a completely different beer altogether.
Oh,
it's its own thing.
Right.
So it's not, we don't use that for anything else. It's Breton Light is Breton Light. So it's not a variation of another product that we've made.
Yeah, of the family of available beers on the website right now, it's the only one with the lager name to it.
Right.
Yeah, and a different kind of a separate kind of can design and a separate kind of look and feel to it, and that's on purpose.
Well, I was a bit scared when Ross hauled it out and he held it up in front, and of course I had the can completely at 180 degrees sitting here on the table from what he had, and he hauled it out and held it up, and I thought, oh my God, he's giving me the wrong can.
You've got the white side, and I've got the green side. Look at that, absolutely. A nice green can of beer. Whoops. And
I had a moment. I did have a moment.
Well, and all our other cans are like pretty, like you can kind of see behind me. They're all pretty like different colors, but they're very, unison with the B and the style on it. Yeah. And Breton Light's a bit of a departure from that.
But that's kind of a thing that I enjoy about that, because you got the B is quite large and prominent, but then for a quote unquote light beer, hey, we're a little smaller, kind of a pull back, a little tone back, with a softer tone. We're gonna call this one the Breton Light, and it just feels like it's coming through in a, I don't want to say muted, because muted sounds negative, but like a muted. Oh my God, it's craft beer! Where you're trying to get people that 90s 7-Up commercial kind of energy, but if you say, it's a light beer, have a light beer.
Yeah, and it's a local light beer. Like I love using the word local when I talk, specifically when you talk about the light beer. I think that there's still a portion of the demographic out there that the word craft kind of turns off. I'm not sure why, but I think that they maybe think that it's all IPAs or it's all whatever. So I still think that there's a bit of an education component for people on like, hey, this is just made locally. It's a really good light beer, just like you like to drink, but from a company who's going to keep money in this province.
Do you think it's still also a hint of pretentiousness that people associate with craft brewing and people that drink craft beers? Now, we know differently, of course, because we can just stick our hands in the air and say, excuse me, it tastes better 90% of the time. So the reason why we drink it is, yes, of course, I can pick up a 12-pack of Moosehead Dry if I want, or I can get a bit of a buzz off that, but it's not particularly doing it for me in a taste sense.
It's not because we're pretentious, it's because we're correct.
Well, maybe. But there is definitely still a certain stigma attached. In some people, some traditionalists will just and we've said this a bunch of times, they say, no, I'm a Keith's man, or I'm a Budweiser man, and that stuff's just all a fad and it won't last and it's all skunky, and you're like, okay, fair enough, man. I can't even convince you to try a couple of cans because you're not going to at this stage.
You go in sometimes and they have one of those little kiosks, and some company has paid money to say, oh, all right, does everyone want to try that? Here, to have a taste of this, it's a little different. I personally am offering to C-bands that I will go to however many NSLCs are in my local driving circumference, probably about 4 or 5. And I would probably even do it voluntarily, where I would sit for an afternoon with a couple of craft beers lined up next to the favorite. Like here's a Budweiser, and I would say I would put your Budweiser up against this one. I would put your other one up against this one. And not only, and I tell people that, and the part that they really don't understand is not only do they taste better, is that they're oftentimes cheaper or exactly the same
little
price.
bit, absolutely. Yeah, it's
and
crazy, isn't it?
That's the part that gets me, because when you get talked into, hey, you should go to the farmers market and you will get better food and fresh things that are all made locally, and you go in and you compare it to the grocery store prices, and you're like, I'd like to shop locally, but
yeah.
But the beer scene doesn't seem to be the same parallel.
I guess not overall. I do think that our and I can't speak to anyone else, but I think that our brewery is proof that you can grow good local beer kind of within a demographic that I don't want to say didn't want that, but I've told the story a million times, and my dad drank Olin's his whole life, or Keith's his whole life, right? And when I started in this industry, of course he wants to support his son, he wants to support the local brewery. That's great. So he kind of starts off with drinking like our brown, and then he kind of goes to something else. Now he only drinks Black Angus or Hazy Angus or IPAs. We've seen so much of that in Cape Breton through our tap room. It's unbelievable. And I mean, like, Black Angus has taken off and it's done really great, and we're very, very proud of that beer. But I don't know if I ever thought we'd have this many Cape Bretoners converting over to IPAs. A lot of people that drank different beers for a long, long time. So I think that
the stubby brown bottle of 10 penny.
Yeah, listen, we've got more to convert, but I think we've done a good job of that. And I think a lot of breweries have, specifically, some of the smaller local ones. But yeah, there is I don't want to say a stigma or a pretentiousness, but yeah, kind of. I think there's people that go, that's not for me. And I also think some people don't know where to start. And they go, I don't know. There's all this stuff, and I just kind of don't know where to go. And I think that that's still a little part of it.
The point and hope of us having to do this, of us trying to do this, the main point was I'd forgotten which ones I'd tried, and I was trying to explore. So for me, I like to just have I like to document everything with my own video journey. I don't know. It's probably narcissism. Who knows? But the other part of it is I want to try to describe things in such a way of, if you like this is your entry. Or I have met, well, not only met people, but my existing group of friends. And I have had a friend, and he was, nope, my favorite beer is Stella Artois. I'm going to drink Stella Artois till I die. You can't get me. I've tried a craft beer and I didn't like it. And I said, okay, you just sit there and you tell me what you love about Stella Artois. And he did. And I said, all right. And I brought him back 2 different ones. And I said, this is El Diablo, the Mexican jalapeno lager from Good Robot. And this is the Marigold Blonde from Sober Island. Drink both of those. And he has never had a Stella since. And he's working his way out. So it is, there's the sad story is that there is a route. There is a road for everybody, every beer drinker, but you really do just need to sit down and arm wrestle every single individual one of them.
And
so is your friend is to blame then? Stella Artois collapsed last year. The whole Belgian industry just fell apart. Was that because of your friend?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Probably a big part of it. But that's great. You're able to do that. A lot of people don't have people around that are kind of able to do that. But we get asked stuff like that all the time. Hey, I like drinking this. What should I try from you? And I think beer people are certainly creatures of habit. Craft industry changed that a little bit for a lot of people, but it's some people only drink Bud Light, some people only drive Toyotas, some people only do whatever, and that's it's going to be you're going to have a really hard time changing their mind.
You know what?
You might
Cameron,
never get them.
You mentioned about the IPAs, of course, and people might be like, and they might just assume that craft beer just equals IPAs. And if you have a couple of bad IPAs at the beginning of your journey into craft beers, it might put you off forever. Ross and I are here to say that we were creatures of habit. We were dark beer drinkers. I'm 58, mate. I am 58 years old, and for the first 53 of those, 54 and 55. No, actually, I wasn't drinking beer when I was 4. But during my beer drinking years, I've only drank darker ales, English ales, brown ales, stouts, and porters. And IPAs, India Pale Ales specifically, and pale ales did very little for me, to the point where I'm like, they hurt. It's only in the last couple of years that I've become totally converted. A creature of habit, sure. And now my habit is to go straight for an IPA. It's bizarre how much it's changed.
Me too. And I was not an IPA drinker before I kind of got in and started working in this industry. I go as far as to say I didn't really care for IPAs when I first started. I liked lots of different stuff. I loved reds. I loved dark beers, just like you. I loved hefts and different Belgian styles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my mind, when I'm at my desk at 10 a.m. on a Friday thinking about a cold beer at 5 o'clock, it's an IPA. Yep. That's what I'm tasting in my mouth. And I can't wait. I think once you get there, you don't really go back. You can still love and appreciate other styles, but once you kind of become an IPA drinker, you're an IPA drinker.
We have done it, and I am sitting here eyeing that hazy IPA over there, and really, really looking for. I'm having a hard time waiting for that one. But a thing happened to me. I was having a couple beer, just moving from place to place, and in the middle, I checked a menu, and like the second of 3 places we went to, and it had Serial Killer from Big Spruce on there, and I went, it was 1,000 degrees, 9 million% humidity, and I just went, I will have the Serial Killer, please. I must have this. This is just what's happening right now. I don't care. And it was nice and cold. I don't normally have an ice cold stout, but that was the day for an ice cold stout, and it hit the spot.
I can have a Guinness anytime and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it? This is, I've got to say, there's too much flavour in here for a light lager. And I was not expecting it to have a taste, because light lagers, I mean, straight off the bat, I've learnt to appreciate that when a craft lager is done well, is good, then it's really, really good. But of course, again, talking about my history, dark beers to me was where the flavour was. That's where I headed for the maltier and the chocolatier and the versions. Whereas lagers for me, I steered clear of them because they didn't do a lot for me. They were cold, wet, and pissy, and they avoided flavour. If it was cold. Cold was the flavour, and that's all it seemed to be. This has a taste, an actual flavour for it, and it's a light lager. It's not even a 5%er. It's quite delicious. And you're talking about mowing the lawn. I want to get out there now. It's a bit dark, but I feel like I want to go out there and mow the fucking lawn all of a sudden.
when I bought the case, I finally found it, and I got back into the car, and my wife looks down and she says, "I thought you were just getting 3." And I said, "Well, it's only available in the case." And she looked at it and she said, "Oh, Breton Light lager. Oh, lawn mowing beer."
Yeah.
Immediately knew.
I don't know who coined that the first time, but it's definitely stuck around.
It's
that's
clever.
for sure.
Totally has. Ross, are you just starting out? Have you had a first sip? Because I'm almost done.
No, I'm cheating.
Oh, you've got a second one.
Yeah. 355 milliliter can.
I
Come
know.
on.
It's delicious, isn't it? It's
well,
So I have a tall one.
I couldn't.
There we go.
I mean,
there we go.
You got to compare it and make sure the whole case is tasty, right?
Yeah. You gotta have at least a sip everyone.
I will bring this up because lawn mowing beer has come up an awful lot. But I was out. This was maybe 4 years ago. We had a really pretty snowy winter, and it was so bad that it was one of those winters that you had to go out and help your neighbor with the snow clearing. So I was over with my snowblower going in one direction, and my neighbor was going in the other direction, and we finally met up somewhere in the middle. We'd done most of it. We were about 66% of the way through, and I said, hang on, and I went in and I brought out, and I happen to have the Toller Gold. It was my go-to at the time. And I said, there we go. And we stood out, and it was that day after the storm, bright blue sky, and we're there just, pouring sweat, but wearing all your gear. So it's a good snow blowing beer too.
That's a good one too.
I think you can coin that one. If you need to steal that, please do.
Oh, I definitely will. I like that one.
But it's very smooth on the back end. Like Ian says, it's got more flavor than it's got any business having, because usually once you drop down, there's not many beers. This is on a very short list of beers that once you drop down to a 4 or lower than a 4, something happens where you're sacrificing flavor, and a number of beers have managed to do the wizard science and whatnot, where it doesn't come out tasting like a... And here's another drink that we have a complete bias against, and it's seltzers.
Yeah.
Where it just tastes like TV static with a faint remnants of flavor. And I'm struggling with the popularity. These things are like, oh, can I get I love it. I love tasting something where it tastes sort of like someone's throwing the flavor at me from across a crowded room.
Yeah, someone's yelling a flavor from another room.
I will say that, I mean, clearly, when Canada has, it's almost like this bar that if it's any less than 5%, people are like, oh, it's dishwater, or it's too weak, I don't want it. Now, of course, to me, I know, Ross, we've been through this. To me, a 5% beer is a good, strong backbone beer. But I know you're laughing at it, but to me, anything beyond 5% is a healthy ABV for a beer. Now, something that the UK managed to do, I don't know how they do it, because it is wizardry. I don't know if you have any history or any experience yourself, Cameron, in drinking British ales, and I'm talking. Just a regular 3.6, 3.7 ale that you would find in any pub in the UK. It has incredible amounts of flavour, a really distinctive flavours. And I'm thinking, and until I really started looking into these things and realised, until I got to Canada, I didn't understand how they could do this. But of course, it's hundreds of years in the making, I would think. And if you're a brewer, how is it done? How do you make a 4% taste like a 7%, if you will, just through the amount of oomph that it has?
Well, I think trial and error is the exact correct word. I think that they've probably done a million batches, and eventually you get it right. But I can tell you, we did some batches of this light beer that we just tossed. Early in production, and trying to get the recipe dialed in and really trying to get it right. And not because it didn't taste good, it tasted okay. But okay is not something you put on shelves. So you gotta go, okay, what do we not like about this? Where do we want it to be? Where's it at right now? How do we get it there? And I'm certainly less involved in this than on the production side. So Ian Sutherland, our head brewer, Adam, our I want to say head assistant brewer, but he makes some fantastic stuff. He's from Wales. Shelby, our lab tech, they really, they did so many batches of this and kept tweaking and dialing, and they're still doing that now in these minor adjusting ways. And that's the answer. The answer is trial and error, and having some people on your staff that have really good palates and know how to make those adjustments.
It's one of the things that I like coming back to some beers that we've had before. Because unlike, an absolutely commercial beer, Pabst Blue Ribbon or something, you're not going to say, oh, this tastes a little different than last year's version. That's never going to happen. But summer to summer, craft beers, and you sort of like, ooh, yeah. I like the way they went here. Or sometimes even kind of, I think I prefer last one's version. And then you're sort of thinking to yourself, I can't wait to see what happens next year. And we are the type of personalities that like the diversity and the it's got to be a nicer word than chaos, but just sort of the diversity and the little tweaks and the changes and the bits here and there's ooh, that's a different thing. Where maybe
the subtle adjustments, the subtle adjustments.
Yeah, and it could that be part of why people always go back to, well, Keith's always tastes like Keith's. I'm like, well, yeah, but Keith almost tastes like kind of not very good.
It doesn't now, does it? It doesn't taste like it anymore, because a few years ago, this IPA that they were doing, all of a sudden, almost overnight, changed. The flavor completely changed to me. And that's not just my palate changing, the flavor changed.
I haven't had one in a long time.
No, I know. I was fun.
I don't blame
you. Before I found craft beer, and friends of mine that I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna sit down and have like a bunch of beer tonight. Let's have a case of Keith's. And my thing was always, okay, that first one is work. The first one is work. You have to put in the. You're like, oh, skunky. Here we. Okay. The fifth one tastes great. 5 through 11.
Ross, I've always found that.
Wonderful. Great. And here's the thing. The 7th Keith's, or the 7th, the 12th Molson Canadian tastes like this. This is smooth. It is light bodied, but full. And I'm still trying to work out how and why. But it has got a full flavor, but a light body. And I'm really appreciating that. This is... The province and the craft breweries are getting so much better at these session ales, these light lagers. And
you have to.
You're right.
The days of and I don't mean this in a bad way, but the days of the early years, certainly the early Nova Scotia years of the industry, where there was, you could kind of, I don't want to say you can make whatever and put it on the shelf, but there were some beers that maybe weren't the best, and this is kind of speak from everybody. And we've gotten to a point now where you've got to have good liquid out there. That it has to be number one. It has to be the priority. The liquid has to be excellent, and then you still have to, even after you have that, you still have to figure out a way to sell it and get it to people and get the message out there. But the liquid has got to be the priority, and for us, our owners, Brian and Andrew, that's number one for them. It's got to be, the liquid's got to be good. We're not putting something out there that is, doesn't taste great or that we're okay with. We want to get it dialed and we want to do it right.
I'm trying to think. Was there a black IPA?
Yeah.
Not from us.
There wasn't? I thought there. I think it's just because it's the Black Angus is there.
We've definitely had the black IPA.
I guess it was the Lunds Mill Eclipse was my first foray into that, and I've really enjoyed those. So if you need yet another Angus, so let's move on. Okay. And we'll definitely dip into our next one, which is the beginning of our Angus journey, but the Tiny Angus Pale Ale. So 4.5% Pale Ale, which is arguably, I say if it's below 5, it's a session, but Ian doesn't always agree with me. The side of the can doth
I will
decry.
say, Ross, right there, I haven't eaten a great deal today, and I'm a little bit worried because that was a 355 of the light lager of 4%. And when you were talking about it, saying plenty of flavor, and there's a little bit of backbone to it as well, richness. I'm already feeling that I've had a beer.
I know.
I'm not. Thankfully, I don't have to do any mowing right now
you've
because
lost
I'm
all credibility because
it.
we already know that your clothes are inside out, so it doesn't even matter at this point.
So I'm a bit worried because we're going to end up, of course, on some big fat hazy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not worried. I'm massively looking forward to it, and I know where I'm going at least because we've had these before. We know where we're going.
This is when I say things like, "But it's only a 6.5," and Cam's nodding.
Last words.
He's nodding at me on that one. Okay, so for the 4.5, the Tiny Angus. I think this is nearly new. This is the newest of the fleet at the moment.
Yeah, newest-ish. We had a Lazy Angus in this summer as a kind of like a 5-month-ish kind of offering. But yeah, this is a full time for us in the Angus family. A couple years old now, but yeah, it it kind of replaced our 7 years, which was another pale ale, which also was really delicious and did really well. We wanted something. I know you mentioned the 4.5%. We hear that sometimes, that it had to be this to be a pale ale, that it had to be that. I think the days of following the guidelines of what you name your beers have gone out the window.
Yep.
Some time ago. But to us, this was a pale ale. It's very light. So we wanted something that, this is for the person that probably likes IPAs, but maybe wants to have, not a 6.5 or a 6%, wants something a little lighter, but still really wants to get, some of those hoppy flavors, and enjoy it. So that was kind of where this was, bred from.
So on the can, it's
Cameron.
Sometimes.
Oh,
even,
in the sorry, Ross.
Give me the description, and I'll get you that.
No,
sometimes even Angus needs to take it easy. Tiny in strength, but mighty in flavor and aroma. This pale ale has the same crisp citrus taste you would expect from an Angus, but just tiny. Go for it, Ian.
No, I'll come back to it, mate.
Oh. Because
I'll come back to it because
we've fought personally and tried to figure out the description of a pale ale, which is, I don't want to say missing, but it is there is an obvious lack of the word India at the beginning of it. So you go from an IPA to, oh no, now we are a pale ale. And in trying to do a silly amount of research, and we look at the Canadian beer, the national awards, and it was kind of telling us that a pale ale, not a India pale ale, was more of a balanced, potentially more malt balanced or malt focused beer, and we've had very few, like 2 maximum, where it is, oh, here's a pale ale, and we think, okay, we're getting into it, it's going to be because what you often get is it's an IPA, but not quite an IPA. So we pour a pale ale, and all of a sudden we get this malt roller coaster of and it's almost a brown ale or a brownish, reddish kind of amber thing going on. I said, what is happening here? And like you say, the descriptions are out the window. It doesn't even matter half the time.
It's yeah. I mean, I think you can do a lot with a lot of different kind of beers, and I like that people are doing different stuff like that. So we wanted this to be pretty clean, pretty kind of light and clear. I kind of call this the the lawn mowing beer for the hardcore IPA guy. So for the person that's gotten to IPAs and wants to be kind of IPA only, and they're like, I don't want the light beer. Cool. I got a light beer for you, or a lighter ABV beer, but that still has that hoppy kick that you're looking for, still has that flavor you're looking for.
Because the lager had that barley. It was, here we go. We got the barley. It's almost, and I know it's not made with corn, but it always gives me this corn kind of tang to it, and maybe that's either some sort of latent sweet vegetable kind of back end to it. But I know when you get to a session, and we've seen the session IPAs, and those come out, and those have that more of a hop profile, which you obviously are not going to get in a lager, because people are just going to, a lager drinker is just going to spit that out if there's a hop profile, despite the fact that that's the ingredients to beer.
I think you could probably, I mean, you could call this a session IPA if you wanted to, and I don't think anyone would drink it and think otherwise.
I think what I was going to say there, Russ, was, and that's kind of following up on what you were saying. I bought a number of those the Angus boxes, Cameron, during the summer.
The mixers, okay, yes, thank you.
Absolutely, a number of them, by the way. I'm not just blowing smoke here. It was amazing. There was a couple of times I had to the maritime. There's one of these Facebook groups that were on the Maritime Craft Brewing Facebook group, whatever it was. And several times I was waxing lyrical about poetic about this box set you have. It's no surprise that this was the least favorite of the 4 in there, but I think it helps to have it now after I've had the light lager. You were saying there, it's almost like a sessionable IPA for those that still love their IPAs but are wanting something a little bit lighter. even though we've just been saying how much of a profile and how much surprising bite that the light lager had, like I said, I already feel it. Drinking this now, I'm feeling like I'm drinking a low-end IPA, a very refreshing low-end IPA, which is creamy as all hell, and it's the hops, of course, for the hop heads, they're thinking, I'm going to want something more than that. But as a session IPA, is like you said, it's going to hit the nail on the head. And again, it's bloody refreshing.
It's got some very good balance in there. That is quite delicious. There's a little bit of a haze to it. It's just ever so slightly.
But the hop profile is dialed way back, isn't it? So it's yeah.
Yeah, it's there, but it's back. So you're getting, I mean, I get it a little bit more on the back end. But it's just it's nice going down, and you kind of get that flavor. I'm not surprised. I don't want to say I'm not surprised it was your least favorite of the hot box, but knowing your beer profile, that makes sense. And we had an opportunity to do that hot box. It went really well. We liked it a lot, but we also knew that it would help this beer almost specifically a little bit, because you want the crazy and you want the hazy and you want the black, but at the end of that, you got 3 of these in your fridge too, and either you're going to drink them or you're going to give them to someone else.
If you show up to a party with the hot box and someone says, "I don't like craft beer,"
marketing,
booyah! You want you want that one,
or we force you to drink it if it's that, even if it's the last one you drink, and then you go, oh wow, this got a lot of flavor. This is pretty good for hoppy beer. It's only 4.5%. This is something I can have 2 pints of.
I said all three of them. All 3 of the quote IPAs were absolute bangers, and yet this is still perfectly quaffable. And I'm glad what you said, Ross. We normally do start with the lower ABV and go to and get stronger and stronger. This is where this is really coming to into its prime. As a result, if I'd gone the other way and I'd had the other 3, I'd had the Anguses and then ended on this, I'd be like, oh goodness me, I need something in this for it to be there. It's right. It's beautiful. Beautiful point.
You also mentioned the Angus family.
Yeah.
And we've all noticed, but from the current cross section of beers, the beers available, of the 9 beers available that are showing on the website, 7 of them are Anguses.
Yeah. So it's
my mind immediately goes, I mean, you could just rename it Angus Brewing if you really wanted to.
Well, interestingly enough, Black Angus was our first beer that we made, and it was actually at one point it was in the running for the name of the brewery. It was discussed as a potential name of the brewery, but Black Angus is named after Giant McCaskill. So the largest natural giant who ever lived, born in Scotland, but lived most of his life in Englishtown, about 20 minutes from the brewery. So he was the largest natural proportionate giant ever, I believe. So he didn't have like gigantism. He was proportioned. Oh. So his nickname was Black Angus, and that's where the name of the beer comes from. And so the idea was to keep the hoppy beers in one family, as I say, the Angus family. So you have Crazy Angus, the double IPA. You have Hazy, which makes sense. You have Lazy, which is a little lower. You have Tiny, which is the lowest. I don't know how much farther that's going to keep going, but that was the idea. It was to keep the hoppy beers in the same family.
Can I just say, you've barely dipped into an emotional range.
Okay,
the misanthropic Angus.
Yeah. We could do a lot with this for sure.
There's so many.
Cameron,
lots of places to go. Anyway.
Has anyone commented how I'm playing devil's advocate here? I am one of the people that has been a little confused, and I've with the Lazy Angus, the Crazy Angus, and the Hazy Angus, I have confused them myself for obvious reasons. And I think if you go 3 or 4 beers deep and there's 6 or 7%, it's not going to be too soon, not going to be too long before you do actually start to confuse them. And only last week, Ross, I confused you, or I confused myself when you said, okay, Cameron's coming along in Breton, and these are the three we're going to be looking at. And what did I do? I called one of them an IPA, and it wasn't, because I'd confused the Tiny or something with the Lazy Angus, which I went out and bought. By the way, I don't mind that.
Thank you, by the way.
No, like I say, I'm picking them up. I love your Anguses. We're not even doing these tonight, but I'm having them on standby just in case afterwards. I think I'm going to have some more Anguses. But has there been? I mean, it is marketing, and I realise that. And you're using themes, and it's perfectly understandable. Is there anyone that's thought? I can't remember which one is which.
Sure, Ian. Absolutely. Not so much up until the last maybe year and a half or 2 years, but yeah, that's certainly an ongoing kind of dialogue and conversation we're having. I hear it occasionally from NSLC managers. Oh, yep, that one's that. You know what I mean? Or oh yeah, right, that one's that. So that's there's an education element on our kind of end that we're responsible for with that, but also can it get to a point where maybe it's a little bit too much? Sure, and that's again an ongoing conversation we're having.
I was going to say, I can if we're running through the alphabet, I was running through myself and I'm thinking, I think you may have exhausted all the rhyming Azies, because I don't think Hazy Fantasy, Maisie, you do a song, don't you, Rob, by a Maisie Gray?
Phasey might be possible.
Phasey, if we go there, then there could be some real issues.
The lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. That was
you pretty much just need to go through the Aerosmith discography from the mid-late 90s.
Well, we have like 4.5%, 5.2, 6.2, 6.5.
Yeah,
7.
But what they do all have in common, apart from rhyming, is, like I said, every one of those IPAs in that box set is a banger.
And I do remember we did have the Giant Angus, the triple IPA, and it was the one that had, I think, the most information about Johnny McCaskill on it. So we did a bit of a deep dive. Oh, well, I occasionally do a little internet dive while we're talking about something. If there's information on the can about the meaning behind it, I'm like, oh, okay. And we learned all sorts of stuff, and just throw that out there.
Giant will be coming back on shelves in mid-November in the NSLC for a little while, so that'll be great. We're excited about that. Last year was our first year kind of putting that one in the NSLC in kind of a 3 or 4 month slot there, and it did really well. The way that there's a trend for high ABV, and you're seeing a lot of it right now.
Yeah, it could, because summer seems to be go on the patio, meet friends at the pub on the patio, and everyone's kind of thirsty for the session IPA. I had this conversation. I stopped down in Chester, talked to Danny Tanner down at Tanner and Company.
Yeah, and
he mentioned that he was planning on putting a session IPA into the LC. And I when I was picking these up, I saw it there. I was like, Tanner and Company with a session IPA, because he was talking about the fact that if you're constantly fighting over the IPA metric, he says, but he was convinced, and the sessions are selling better and better. Not only just in the summer, but year over year. And he wanted to have that one as an option in the LC, because summer is kind of, hey, have a couple of beers with friends and then somehow get home, and that's always the tricky bit. So
absolutely,
it's more and more difficult to go to a friend's house or go out to the pub and then drive home if you had 2 double IPAs. And I mean, the whole joy here of the the internet conversation over video chat is, I'm in my own house. Will I have a second double IPA? Yes, I will. Yeah, and because I'm not going anywhere tonight, and the benefit is there. But we're a pretty small demographic. I'm fairly certain.
It's interesting. I think like there is a large demographic out there that wants a lower ABV and they want that session style ale. But I think that certainly recently, look at how many double IPAs are on the shelves right now.
A lot, yeah.
Look at how many high ABV beers. We've already seen the trend to 5, 6, 8 ml cans. And most of those, if not all of them, other than maybe a couple of tollers, I think are double IPAs.
Yep.
Isn't that funny? We were talking about this very same thing only last week. It's weird how the really high, the 8 and 9%ers, those are the ones you would least expect to see in the 568s, and yet there they are, and they're not charging an arm and a leg for them either, which is wonderful.
I think in this economy there's a customer that wants to get the most for their money, and certainly we all do, and you know, I can appreciate that. So I think it's a way by where breweries can offer what you're looking for with a little more at a pretty good value. And we've seen, 568 ml cans. We put stadium size on the top of ours. That's just what I always called it.
I saw that tonight. Yeah, the stadium size, and my mind went, that makes sense. There's a really I like the story and the mentality behind that.
The first time I ever saw one was at a stadium, and that's just what I always called them. But we have some family down in like the New England area and in New York State, and my parents go down, almost every year. They bring back a big flat of all kinds of different stuff, which is, I would love. But they started bringing back, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, all kinds of 568 ml cans, and it wasn't up here. You didn't really see it, and now you're starting to see it move that way. So it's interesting. I mean, we're doing it. We're seeing a pretty good uptick on it, and people are pretty happy with it. There's a few of them out there.
There it is. Yeah, on the website. It's the Crazy Angus Double has the stadium size can. Is that the only one that's in the tall, the extra tall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only one right now. Yeah. So, and that one's in the NSLC. So we transitioned that 473 like right through it. That's gone.
There's no more 473 Crazy Angus?
No.
If you want
all
to bring
568.
Angus, you need an extra 100 milliliters.
It'll be exactly, but it will be back. The mixer's coming back too, so you'll be able to get it in the 355s in the mixer when that comes back.
Do you know what I feel like the mix pack has kind of disappeared in the last year or two. There's not so much of have a sampler pack, have a little try of everything available at here, and it's all get the case.
It's funny you mentioned that. When I 10, 11, 12 years ago, mixer packs were kind of a thing, and then they very much went away for a long time. And the last maybe 3 years, you've seen some come back with different levels of success.
But it's those
and
they're
very cyclical, I find.
Okay, well that's good. I'm hoping they come back because I do miss it. I do miss even the Garrison pack of here's some of them that was back. They put the freaking PB&J in their sampler pack, and I went, that's insane, but I love you guys for it. What are you doing? And I would love the Angus pack. Would be so tasty, despite the fact that you've got 7.
Yeah, we have to pay exactly. We have to
squeeze
have a draft
in there, whatever.
For who gets in.
Invent the 21 pack. Just do that. 3
good
7 threes.
Good problems to have. Good problems to have.
Exactly. I have a question, but I'm definitely saving it for the Hazy IPA because I did some research and some math, and everyone's gonna hate it. And it's a question about the population of the province and where all our craft breweries are. Because I became a little curious about that. We constantly talk. We're up here in Kings County, and in Kings County, and I thought I think we're sort of we've got a little bit more of a concentration of people. There's Halifax, and there's Yarmouth, there's Truro, there's Sydney is like second place, and then kind of the smaller town cities in the way. Up here in Kings County, we don't really have a town city per se, but we seem to have a larger population than a lot of the other counties. And I thought, well, we've got a number of craft breweries up here. So does that have to do with our population per square kilometer? Does that have to do with our high population? And I got curious about correlation.
I'm interested.
So the highest population obviously is Halifax County. 440, and this is from 2021, but whatever. 80 people per square kilometer, and they've got 9 breweries. Now, Cape Breton County, that's north. So is that Big Spruce?
Well, CBRM is Sydney, Cape Breton Regional Municipality.
But that's just the north part, right?
No, that's just the Sydney, like that's Sydney, North Sydney, City Mines, and Waterford Glace Bay. That's the Sydney.
Because I think you guys are Victoria?
No, that would be Big Spruce.
So you're the Cape Breton County one.
Yeah,
There's also 902, but that's over in Inverness, right?
Route 19. Yes.
Damn it. Yeah, Route 19. So Cape Breton has the second highest population in per county, and the second highest population per square inch, but just one brewery. And then when you get to third place, that's our dumbasses up here with 62,000 people as opposed to Cape Breton's got 98, Halifax is 440, which is crazy. So 80 per square kilometer in Halifax, 40 per square kilometer. Kings is 29 people per square kilometer, and we have 6 breweries.
That's wild.
6. And the more you talk about your staff, the more I hear things that I'm not used to hearing. Where you mentioned you've got your head brewer and then your head assistant brewer. That's a new term. And then it was the data set, the head data,
our lab technician.
I've never met a lab tech.
Yeah, we've got an active lab right in the brewery, separate, and we test everything. So everything that comes off the line, every single batch, Shelby's got fresh cans getting tested right off the line. She's got cans that sit warm. She's got cans that sit cold, and she's testing them constantly to see where they're at. It's very impressive.
I'll give you this: if the population per square kilometer starts at 80 and there's 9 breweries, goes to 40, we'll skip that, heads down to 30-ish, and that's us with 6 breweries, and then you get into 14, 16, 14, 50, all the way down to Guysborough County with 1 person per square kilometer. And that, once you get past Kings County's 6, they're all 2, 3, 1, 0. No more than 3. The 3 is in Annapolis, and they're still in there. But at 40 people per square kilometer, a population of 98,000 people, 1 brewery. So if the number of breweries should continue the trend, then somewhere between, there should be 7 breweries in Cape Breton County.
I'm happy there's not.
I know. And I'm not saying in no way am I saying this is the success of Breton, because the success of Breton is because it's so awesome and so good. Could Cape Breton County withstand or hold up with competitive breweries?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I want to say I don't like using the word luck, but there's the fact that no one else opened a brewery in those early years, in the first couple of years in Cape Breton, was, I mean, it was advantageous, of course, and then I think we were so lucky that we were so embraced by the community really right out of the gate. It's people in Cape Breton are, just like they are across all this the whole province in different pockets, are very proud people. They're very loyal people. They're very, these are people from our community and we want to support them. And I think that Brian and Andrew did such a good job out of the gate of really creating a home and a community for people and a hub that they got them to buy in right away.
I'll add an adjective to your description of Nova Scotians. And it's probably third place, but it's kind of important for a lot of businesses. And I think suspicious is a thing that comes up a lot. Where when a new business opens, I find Nova Scotia, they get so suspicious. They're sort of, Who are you? what are you doing here?
I want to dip my toe in the front door and kind of see what's going on there.
What's the story? But if you can, all you have to do is say, hey, we're here for the community, and we're here for providing a good product. And we don't stay suspicious long, but we stay suspicious first. And it's early. And so a number, if you are not inconsiderate, but insincere, just there for kind of that, we hear that the brewer craft beer is taken off in Nova Scotia, so we're coming in from Ontario, don't ask questions, and we're gonna start this thing, and here we go, and off we go, and everyone's gonna show up and say, are you here for the money or for the community? And they're gonna figure that out quick.
Yeah, I mean, actions are always going to speak louder than words. So people are not, people are not inherently dumb. They're going to figure it out pretty quick. One of my favorite things about Breton, and I say this all the time, I've said it in a million different conversations, is that people that are local to the brewery, so like the areas around the brewery specifically, my friends, my friends' parents, my friends' kids, even now, they don't say we're going to Breton. They say we're going to the brewery.
Going to the pub. Yeah, it's just...
We're going to the brewery.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want to go to the brewery? They don't say Breton because it's the community's brewery. They feel like they're a part of something there.
That's
and
nice.
you can go at different times. There's a Sunday afternoon crowd. You walk in Sunday afternoon at probably 3 o'clock, you're going to see the same 50, 60 people there every Sunday afternoon. Friday afternoon, music starts at 4. You're going to see the same 50, 60 people in there a lot of Friday afternoons. A lot of the teachers from the high school, once it's Friday afternoon, they're over for a pint right after class. So it's created, so many friendships have been made just from within the brewery. So that is something that we love so much. And our taproom manager, Raquel, she does such an amazing job of really creating and fostering such a friendly environment. So she does awesome.
No, I'm going to save that. Okay, let's get into our third one, and then I'll ask a question. But we've got the Hazy Angus, which is our third one there, and it's rocking it at Ian's favorite, the 6.5% IBV in the beautiful in the 473, the delightful blue can back to the big B, and I'm digging this because I was digging it on the Tiny Angus as well. These just very subtle art going on. So there's anchors and just sort of the airflow. There's some boats going on there. But on the Hazy Angus, it's, I don't want to say fog. There is fog on this can, and I recognize a good Nova Scotia fog, but it's just this beautiful shades of the
a haze, if you will.
A haze of fog, absolutely. And on the can, it doeth say, this juicy hop-forward hazy IPA bursts with citrus and tropical notes, smooth, hazy, and packed with flavor, pure East Coast.
You said every single word you just said in that description is what I now come to look for in a New England IPA. And this is the style of IPA, Cam, that I've now come to absolutely adore. It's only lately, it's a latent thing that I've kind of cottoning on now to the West Coast, more piney, hoppier versions. I've kind of in my love affair, in my very late love affair with IPAs, I've kind of moved across North America. I think Ross is a little way behind me. We came on board with these big hazy, fruitier versions of the IPA 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm slowly now accepting the hoppier, the ones that made our faces turn inside out and our bums pucker up each time we took a sip of them. But this still, the hazy tropical IPA is, for me, my dad, bless him, he would probably take a sip of this and say, that's not even beer, mate, that's a fruit juice. And I kind of understand, but the fact that there's hops in there and there's bitterness, and there's some back end to it, which makes you still go, is the hit that I get now off IPAs is something I've not got from I've never had from beers, because it's the maltier versions which I would drink and go, that's a good pint. It's the kind of buzz, the hit that I get from IPAs. And your Hazy Angus is one of the very best New England IPA. I mean, does it even say this is a New England IPA? But it probably doesn't. But no, all the description to me says this is a classic now New England IPA, and lap it up. And I do. It's an absolute belter.
Thank you for saying that. It's this beer is not that old. It's certainly, relatively new for us, about a year and a half maybe. And we went through a ton of different test varieties and test batches to try to dial this in. We do taste tests. They do taste tests at the brewery once a week. We bring in all kinds of different local stuff. It's all blind. People mark stuff, and we constantly try to make good liquid. This to me is a really, 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 really good beer. And it's kind of finding its home, and it's finding its market a little bit right now. But I think Ian has done a standout job of putting a really, really, really solid beer out there. So I really appreciate you saying that, Ian. My first kind of introduction into like hazy New England style IPAs, Brian and myself and Dave, our or operations manager rather, we're down in Portland and Boston, I think in maybe 2019. And we did Allagash, and we did like all kinds of the big ones. We did Lord Hobo, we did Night Shift. And that was some of my first introduction into these kind of New England style, juicy kind of haze bombs. And at first I was like, what's this? Now it's, if I see a hazy or a juicy somewhere on a tap, it's probably what I'm going for. So I feel like they've come a long way too in quality from everybody.
Yep. That was
100%.
That was my switch from being an IPA hater to all of a sudden deciding and learning. You sort of say, oh, wait a minute, we could have a juicy or a hazy IPA. Okay, bring it on. And the smells, I'm enjoying all the smells that I'm getting off of that. Ian, are you already into your...
There is. I'm not, but I will say, of course, you mentioned it a couple of times. I love the way you say it. Our liquid needs to get better. And I think Nova Scotia's liquid in general, and IPAs specifically, over the last few years have got markedly better. It's no coincidence that we didn't do IPAs, and even the ones we did, we were still struggling with. Yes, okay, our palates may have slightly changed over the years, but it can't be coincidence that the fact that brewers are making better IPAs.
100%. That's a old school awesome glass.
And I'm learning that I really need to get a new pint glass for Breton Brewing, because the Black Angus is listed over here on one side. There at the very top. Redcoat's up there. So Redcoat's still on the taps. Smash, long gone. Pumpkin seasonal. So there is cranberry. I don't remember. And I don't remember the Cocoa Envy. Didn't have that. Sons of Hector, one of my favorites.
Oh yeah,
absolutely love that one. Wild Breton? What? That's
Wild Breton. So Wild Breton was we made that for the Stillwell Open when they used to do that at Stillwell in a collaboration with the Breton Brewing guys. And it was a wit beer that we aged in Pinot Noir barrels, and we bottled it. And it won the Stillwell Open. It was phenomenal beer, really, really good. It was a one-time shot. We never did it again.
Storm Chaser.
It was a winey,
I like that
grapey thing.
Pardon me?
It was a winey, grapey thing.
It was a wit beer that we aged in Pinot Noir and wine barrels. Yeah.
Good grief.
Island Time Whiskey Sour, or am I reading that? Let's Jam. I have enjoyed. My wife likes sours, and she's got me to drink way too many of them. But when the sours come out, the Let's Jam sour out of Breton, that is the one that I can take.
The Cocoa Envy, which you mentioned, that's going to be visible and gettable for both of you in early January in the NSLC. So it's a 6.5% chocolate porter.
You see this? Isn't it funny how certain breweries you come to associate with certain styles of beers? I've come to associate Breton with IPAs. The same, weirdly, Ross, with Brig and Bark. I'm also looking at Brig and Bark for their range of pale ales and IPAs. There's a bunch of them. Right. North Brewing, I've come to associate with pretty much everything that I love across the board. There are certain breweries that you kind of go-tos. Your German beers, obviously,
Tanner
and Co. That's right. So you do now associate with certain brews. But I did not expect you to. I'm going to obviously have to check that out in the January sale.
It's a beer that we made. We've made it previously. It's never been in the NSLC. It was a tap room beer that we have had in the past and we've canned in the past. It's delicious. One of my favorite beers we've ever made, and I'm really excited for it to come back.
Great.
I've got now that I've come off of the nostalgic run, I really do just need to get a good Breton glass. But this, I can't remember if I found this one, and honestly, I hate to say it, Valley Village, but it was I was very excited to get an actual Breton glass to put my Breton beers in, and I've been.
I'll make sure I get a couple for both of you guys. The next time someone's in Halifax, I got a little package for y'all.
Oh, awesome! Gingerbread. That sounds good. Righto.
Gingerbread was our. We did that a few years too. That was a Christmas beer, a gingerbread ale that we made. It was very popular. I'm sure that'll make a comeback someday.
Oh,
I don't even need to say anything. This is, it's what we say. In the UK, we'll say this, mate, is the dog's bollocks.
And I've never understand how that could be a positive thing, but you've said it several times.
Oh, it's the best.
Look at the thick, juicy.
The thing is, I don't know how close you have to get to being a double IPA without being a double IPA. But this comes to within a gnat's chuff of being a double IPA. Is it ABV again? Is it literally the strength of the beer? Because if 7.5% doesn't reach it,
no, this is
where are we?
6.5. This one's 6.5%.
6.5. So how is it 7 and above that needs to qualify for a double IPA, or is there a qualification?
I'm not. You know what? It's been probably many years since I've actually looked at I guess the regulations or what things are supposed to fall into. I think it is probably 7 would be the entry level for that.
What's another one of my absolute favorite non-double IPAs, but New England IPAs? The Frig Off I love the Frig Off, and it's full of everything again that I really enjoy.
Is that the 9 locks?
Yeah,
it's 9 locks. It's around the corner. I can get that at the Mission Sports and Social for
so many years.
Right, for about $4 a pint, and that's why it's one of my favorites. But until I think this has just got, it's this one out of the can. I mean, clearly, Cameron, I've never had it from your brewery, and if I'm ever up that way, you bet your life I'm dropping in. I'm making a special journey to do that if I'm ever in the area.
Oh, we have to
don't come up without reaching out to me.
Oh, okay, that's very kind. This is so creamy, it's ludicrous.
Cam, you wanted to take a quick break.
Is that okay if we take a quick 2 minutes?
Yeah, for sure. We'll just hit a
quick pause.
Yep. Ian'll just make noises.
I'll just make noises.
Make all your burps. Now is the burping and farting time.
I love this beer. of the 4-pack, this is my fave.
What hazy, crazy, lazy wasn't around
lazy.
Yet, so is lazy?
No,
was lazy in the 4? I don't think it was. Hazy, crazy, black.
I don't think lazy is in it.
No, hazy,
yes,
crazy, black, and giant. They wouldn't have put a triple IPA in the pack, would they?
The crazy is in there.
Yeah.
The crazy is
Hazy,
in the
crazy,
pack.
and black. What's the fourth?
And the tiny.
Oh, the tiny. Okay.
The pale ale. That's right.
I like
and of
the
course,
tiny. I think that's pretty good.
So do I. But for obvious reasons, it was my least favorite.
And well, because it didn't have that. Wow.
I know.
And
yeah.
I feel like that could be why session IPAs. It would be the only detriment to session IPAs, because they are good as long as you aren't near a full strength, really tasty, juicy IPA or a New England IPA. And I have had nights where I just have session IPA after session IPA, and that's a thing. And you're like, okay, just what apples to apples, oranges to oranges is the way to do things.
Yeah.
Chalks
so
it is going to
cheeses. If I'm going to drink my 12 pack of Breton then in one evening, I'm not going to do that. But if someone put a gun to my head and said, you have to do this or we're going to take your house away from you, I'm definitely going to start with the low alcohol one and enjoy it. I think I'll enjoy it then a lot more. I find this one it's really good after a lighter beer. That light lager set me up perfectly for the Tiny Angus. It set me up perfectly for it. If I'd gone the other way, it would have been a completely different experience.
It's difficult to stay in the right objective lane for each of these, especially in and of an evening.
But you guys generally go low to high.
It's been our practice. I don't remember why we established that, but we just sort of chose. And sometimes it doesn't even matter, because if we compare two double IPAs, it's, here's an 8.0 and an 8.1. Whatever.
I've preferred, there are evenings when I've preferred the much lower alcohol beer than I have to the higher, thankfully, which proves a point that just because it's higher strength doesn't mean to say it's going to be a more flavoursome beer. I love that, because you can have a much lesser, following on from what I was saying about the British session ales that I grew up on. Anything really around 3.5% to 4% could be bloody delicious. Doesn't have to be a 9% knock your head off to be a flavoursome beer. So we have had experiences when we've gone, I don't like this kind of 7% thing, whereas the lager we had earlier on was perfectly lovely.
I find if it's IPA, if it's IPAs and you're going high to low, it's hard for me to get the palate cleansed enough to really get the lower beers. I find that for me. So I like doing it this way too.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm at home having a couple beers, it's usually the opposite. It's usually a couple IPAs or a double out of the gate, and then maybe something a little lighter on the other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's that's just a lot. That's just a long life of lessons in drinking, I think, more than anything else.
Have you learned? You've learned how? May I ask your age, Cameron? Just ballpark.
Yeah, of course. I'm 44.
44. So you've experienced enough. Do you find that I've found I don't know whether I'm the only person in the world that's ever experienced this, because everyone else says, really? And I'm like, yeah, I don't get hangovers anymore. Whereas up until maybe 15 years ago, I was the worst person for hangovers, and I didn't have to have very much either. And everyone else was like, you just need to work through it. These days, I don't get hangovers, seemingly. Doesn't matter how hard I try. I don't get a hangover.
If you can bottle that, I'll sell it for whatever you're asking.
I haven't had a really bad hangover in like 4 or 5 years. So yeah, something apparently happens. Cam, you're in for a good time, because any day now you're gonna reach that magical 44, 45, and that's.
I hope so. I've got mornings are earlier, so bedtimes are earlier these days. I got a little fella on the go, and he keeps me on my toes. So I love having a few beers, but as long as I get to bed at a decent hour, I'm usually all right.
Hang in there, man. It just gets better.
Well, it's been great so far.
I've already look at this. I've already destroyed this IPA.
Oh, you've got.
I can't not drink it. It is so delicious.
I'm so glad you like it. We're really like I said, we know this liquid is really good, and it does okay. You know, I listen. I think part of the reason that Black Angus is such a monster for us, it's great. It's about half what we do. It's a phenomenal beer. People love it. People are behind it. There's Black Angus people, which is 15 years ago. I never thought we would have saw that in Cape Breton, but it's so special. So having another IPA, it's hard for some of our customers to go, "Hey, I love that and it's delicious, but I'm an Angus guy." So we're finding new and different customers. I'm really glad that you do like the liquid because, as I said, we know it's good, and we got to find some more bodies to drink it.
Is the family of Jack McCaskill still in Cape Breton?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's McCaskill's still in Englishtown, and there's a John McCaskill Museum in Englishtown as well. So if you're ever down that way, pop in. It's like I think it's still run by the McCaskill family. He's buried there, yeah, it's. I'm not sure how many generations back. 4, probably 5.
Oh yeah, I haven't checked the dates on everything. I'm so thankful, grateful to you for spending your time with us. This is again, we keep talking about the fact that we could. I don't know what it is. How if you spend 1,000 hours doing something, you become a professional at it, regardless.
Yeah,
of
10,000.
10,000 hours. Malcolm Gladwell.
Okay, we got like 400 or 500 to go still. Then all right, that's fine. But we've been doing this for a little while, and the whole process of it was just all right. What can we do? And it doesn't. We decided it didn't need to be about expertise. It just needed to be about description, where you could and I've read terrible reviews on things. We'll dip into it and say we don't read Untapped anymore because those are useless. It's just people saying I didn't like it. I said, well, okay.
I don't like IPAs. 2 out of 5.
How I can't get any information from that whatsoever. But if a person writes out a nice long thing of, there was a nice malt, the taste and the mouthfeel was great at the front, the middle had some great body to it, the back end or the bitter hit you just at the right point, like that is the information that I want to have. That is the information that I think that we want to give. So I want to present ourselves as something that will be of benefit to people who have vastly different tastes from us. That's the goal.
The main, like, so when we make a new beer and say I'll have, when I'm down at the brewery, which is often, Ian will say, "Hey, I'm working on this. Can you give it a try?" And I'll try it and I'll say, "Okay, this is what I know the style. But okay, this is what I'm getting here. This is what I'm getting here. This is kind of what I'm getting in the back end." And he'll go, "Okay, good." I'm like, is that what I should be getting?" And he's like, most of the time, yes. Or he'll ask, are you getting any of this? I'm not the best technical guy in the world. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know flavors. Obviously I know enough about beer that I sell it for a living and work for a brewery for a living and probably know a little bit more about it than some. But I'm not crazy technical. I just know what tastes good, I feel like, and I know what doesn't taste good, and I know the direction that we want to go with some of our stuff. So I like to try to describe things in the easiest way I possibly can when it comes to any of our beers, because I think that that's what most people should do. I think it's easier for maybe someone like we talked about, someone who doesn't drink craft beer or local beer because maybe there's a stigma or whatever. But when you can, like, as you said, Ross, when you can explain it to someone else, it's like, "Oh, you like Stella? Like, you would love this. This is a super similar beer for these reasons, and it's made by a local brewery." And they try it and they go, "Oh, this is amazing." Not everyone has people in their life that can convert people like that, but I wish there was more people like you doing that.
And that's
literally all there's a guy. There's a guy, Vaughan Burt. He's on that Maritime Craft Brewing Facebook group as well. He's very good at that. I do, because he manages to condense what I'm trying to say into just a paragraph. He does do that. and Cuva Labs, that science of
Lucas?
beer thing that we tried, it's doing the same thing. It's taking the flavors of something, breaking it down to a science, and saying the smell, the palate, the look, the feel, the mouth feel, etc. And then breaking it down, and then if you say at the end of it, you get a ticket out and saying, okay, well this is basically what you like in a beer. In that case, may we introduce you to X, Y, and Z as a result of it?
That's a great
and that it really is. It's taking beer to. It's okay. It might sound a little clinical, and because you said, Cameron, you know what you like.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little difficult to explain it, and then to put it into words. We all have that problem, but we know what we like, and it is nice to have either people out there that can say, okay, if you like this, then why not do this? Spotify does this in music. Algorithms do it. They say, if you like X, Y, and Z as a band, hey, have I got news for you? So at least it's
Spotify. They're pretty good at that too.
I hate them, but at the same time, they are good at doing that.
I'm proud that we shouldn't be like an algorithm, but also a little bit jealous.
I know.
I think that if you,
I know, but at least it is what it is doing is pointing you in the right direction, saying you don't have to say, oh, sorry, I'm a Keats man. This is right at the top of this evening. We said that the same thing. Just because you like something, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into that little box and say, this is all I'm ever going to have. There is something out there for you that maybe can help out the local community and the craft brew community, but actually, you really might like it as well, and it's no more expensive. So have at it.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think if you can't explain something very simply to someone, then you probably shouldn't be explaining it. So I'm a big kind of fan of that. I think if you want to talk on something, then you should be able to explain it to someone very easily. And if you can't explain what you're talking about to someone very easily, then maybe you shouldn't be explaining it to them.
I pride ourselves on being able to chop this down to about a 3 or so minute video, and the rest of it is usually just us talking about Star Wars movies. or music, classic rock. We get into some fairly large arguments. I'm glad we didn't this time, but it could have happened.
I love it. I'm definitely a big music guy and a big sports guy outside of the beer world.
This is the person that every time Ian and I go out to trivia, we know everything except sports. So we've got our wonder team right here. That's the wonder trivia team.
I'd like to think that.
I'm gonna have to head on out, by the way, because I've got one finger left of all three of them that I'm gonna have to go and share with my lovely girlfriend. And also, I've got about 4% left on my phone. Folks, I'm out of here. Cameron, I am going to be up that way. You know what? It's been about 5 years since I've been to Cape Breton. That might be 4 years too long. So maybe in this fall, when the leaves start turning, I might just be in your direction. So if I do, I'll look you up. But for now, I'm going to head on out of here.
Please send me an email, and would love to have you at the brewery. And if you're in Halifax, I got some stuff. I'll get to Ross, and I'll make sure it gets to you.
Look at that.
Nice one. I'm out of here. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers, Ian.
Definitely want to thank Ian for being my co-host, and Cameron for being here. Breton Brewing in general for making the beers that we tasted tonight. We are back here every week, approximately 8 p.m., sometimes a little later. And you can watch us live at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@DrinkNSDry. We're DrinkNSDry in all of the socials, like I think Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. But you can also find our podcast in all the podcasty places. So you look up DrinkNSDry, and again, live show back here weekly. So we hope to see you again next week. Thanks again, everyone involved, and good night.